Greetings everyone, it's Angelo Rain, and today, for the year 2025, I'm introducing you, or rather I'm reintroducing you with, I hope this time the lighting will be just right, my collection of Saint Seiya figurines, the Knights of the Zodiac in vintage version, from 1987-1988, collectible items that have mostly disappeared from the radar of toy collectors. Since people now prefer the myth cloth, action figures, I take this opportunity to show you again the toy versions from 1987 of Saint Seiya. So what can we say about this video? What is this range? It's a line that was released in 1987 by Bandai from 1987-1988. They are called the Saint Claus series, and there are more than 30 of them. Some models were released in France and Spain. Other models are impossible to find and are only available in Japan. What about the figurine? This is a figurine, while I show you again my red Toei color Pegasus, the one that was supposed to be in the anime. These are 13 similar figurines, completely made of plastic and metal. Metal, no chrome painting process with foil that was directly applied to the character. Aside from some characters released in 2004 which have a completely different design, I hope this video will be clear enough that this video will also be for collectors, but also for those who would like to venture into the world of vintage toys that some may have forgotten. So, where to start? So first of all, you should know that before presenting this video, the models were released in Japan, well before everyone else, with completely different box packaging. These are not the drawings, as you can see, by Shingo Araki. These are drawings. At the time, the version, let's say, was comic style. By the way, I think I'm going to put up a photo. You can see that the photos were completely different from our versions to the Japanese versions. What about it? Of course, the details on the faces are much more impressive on the Japanese versions. The special thing, while I show the dragon, is that the Japanese version didn't have the foldable flap, as we have the window open, while in France and Spain we had the option to do this. The ultimate holy grail for all collectors is to see and admire their figurine in the store and choose the model they want. Some models are original, while the Japanese models didn't have the foldable flap. Also note, before presenting the collection, because I consider myself, I think, a die-hard expert on vintage models that you will see, Bronze Knights were also released, as well as Gold Knights. We can take another look at the beautiful image of the Swan Knight, Cygnus, in the version that was released well before everyone else in the Macau version. So what are the Macau versions? They are the same boxes that you will see. They are now impossible to find for the Gold Knights. We had the Japanese versions, the French Macau versions, which had the same box as this one. The difference is that we couldn't have the foldable flap. It was like the Japanese ones, but with the font like the others. And the special thing is that inside the instructions were yellow. I repeat, if you have vintage Zodiac Knights, Saint Seiya, and you have yellow instruction manuals, you are the owner of a very rare Macau version. I have very little information about it. But in any case, these figurines cost a fortune. So, Bandai, riding on the success of the series, launched a line of toys. That's why we had a completely different design for our boxes, since I think the original Japanese versions weren't officially released yet, with the character design by Shingo Araki, and so we end up with boxes that are, let's say, more up to date, with designs that look much more like the characters, while the Japanese will have boxes, as I showed you in the illustration. As I remind you, so Saint Seiya, the Knights of the Zodiac, is an animated series by Shingo Araki based on the Saint Seiya manga by Masami Kurumada. Released around 1986 as well, and so precisely because of the success, we decided to release collectible toys, and we're going to show you the back of the blister packs. Maybe that's also why I never wanted to have the Japanese models. They might have a higher quality, but we still have the right to have designs that are true to the characters. So we can see that back in the day, in toy stores, you would have done anything to get your hands on these kinds of toys. It was a struggle to get this kind of toys. So, I don't know. If the video, how should I put it, might be useful to other collectors outside of Spain and France, since I think the Americans, hello to the Americans watching. This video didn't get these figurines, so this will give you an idea of what Europeans had before everyone else. We were lucky, especially the French and the Spanish, and here we can see that we have the figurines. So, this will give you an idea of what Europeans had before everyone else. We were lucky, especially the French and the Spanish, and here we can see that we have the figurines. So, as I was explaining, here they are, completely made of plastic and metal, 13 centimeters tall, in their poses. The poses were very limited back then, figurines that all the kids had in the 80s. And I admit that honestly representing them with good lighting is great. It really makes me happy. We can see that the designs were, I don't know if they were still. The last one had been respected in the character design by Shingo Araki, but in any case, we can see that the designs are very different with their stories. So, these 5 knights are the very first ones equipped with these wings. He always goes faster, so sometimes the approach lines from the versions played were really very funny, the Pegasus. And I have to admit, it really makes me very, very happy to read. Let's show this unique bird with a fabulous tail again. Don't take that phrase out of context. What we're going to do now is show the inside of the blisters, the famous foldable flap, exclusive to us Europeans. We have the Andromeda, you'll see, for those who are really strong. I don't really have the 87 version. Tap, 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 the blister has changed. And yes, I was able to get some 2004 version blisters, since the polystyrene is different. And by the way, we're going to talk about the polystyrene. So this is what the vintage ones from 1987-1988 looked like. We can see that the faces are from the original packaging, and the polystyrene was very fragile for that time. That's why the Andromeda. I got them from a store and it was defective. So I had to put in the polystyrene from the 2004 version. I hope to one day find a polystyrene for the Andromeda that looks much more like it. So we had the option to make them... Of course, the rubber character, as I explained, is 13 centimeters. The poses were limited. And indeed, we had the armor, completely made of metal. Whether the color is similar or not, you can tell me with, of course, the totem, a rough totem, as I explained. A totem that looks like this. There you go. So, I assure you that, well, I'm 42 years old. In stores, when you had this kind of action figures on the shelves, it was crazy. As I said, it was crazy. It really was. We would have really bugged our parents back then to get them. So, foundation of it all. The Pegasus, there you go. Whether it looks similar or not, you can tell me. Some models are not exactly brand new. We had the part here to attach the piece to the feet. The spurs, if the translation is done correctly, we have them. The armor. The armor which isn't too rusty. Clearly I have to face the facts. I won't be taking them out of their blister. There you go. One wing has come off. So, these figurines today, what's special about them is that at this point in time, they are only interesting if you have them in the box. I mean, having them loose without the box is completely pointless. That's why I say these figurines are even more interesting to get in the box for the symbolic aspect. You all had your favorite character. By the way, let me know in the comments who your favorite character is. And you can see that it's so much nicer to have them with their box. There you go, that's something. There you go. Incredible, that phrase. Incredible. It's still, I think that's what gives these vintage toys their charm. It's really the packaging. So, I take this opportunity to show you that it's nice. From Bandai. And we can see that in fact the colors of the product can be different from those shown on the box. Since I think that in the illustrations, we had the prototype, of course, with the constellations, the rendering with the yellow box behind, which gives it an almost golden symbolic aspect. This box, in fact, has been my entire life journey as a passionate collector and enthusiast. As I was explaining, I refuse to take the Japanese versions. I don't like the design of the boxes, and I prefer to have the flap. Also, or that they have been released. As long as I don't forget, in Windows box version, I'll put up the photo. For those who want to get an idea, these are vintage ones that were only released in Japan, with the logo in Japanese, and we could see the character with a completely different illustration. Today, do the Windows boxes have any value? It's up to you to tell me. They're always nice for the collection. And we finish with the Swan Knight. And it really makes me feel... It feels really strange to show you this because honestly, it's what really sparked my passion for collecting. That's where I started. You're watching this YouTube channel, that's how I started. I'm 42 years old at the moment. I'm making this video and I have... Some models are obviously not from the original era. Well, unfortunately most of mine have been destroyed. There comes a time when you're a kid, you play with them. So I assure you that these models are not meant for playing, but rather for the collection. And God knows I struggled to get them in this condition. Here we have the Bronze Knights. We have the 5. I know what you're going to say. Where is the Marine Eagle Knight? He'll come later. But let's move right on to the Knights that you're all waiting for. The Gold Knights. But what is this, Angelo Rain? What is this? This doesn't exist, does it? What are these illustrations? But yes, I told you, I'm a huge fan of vintage. And now, I take the opportunity to show you again my personal creations of sheaths. Since they are indeed sheaths, so extra boxes. If the translator does it correctly, and I really have indeed truly, I faced challenges and struggled. I went through a lot, a significant amount of time, effort, dedication, perseverance, and commitment, and persistence to carefully and meticulously reproduce the same effect as the vintage ones, those classic models from many years ago, from back in the day. So, these are my works with the text that is translated from the real Japanese boxes. Just to remind you, these knights, which today cost a fortune, were never sold in stores. In France exclusive to Jap. Because yes, I was going to introduce you to the Gold Knights. I was so excited, but no. So here are 5 models that you will never see in France. The Black Knights, the Black Saints, the bronzes with their black color, and these are creation boxes made. These are the reissues, tout à fort. The models don't chip. I'll clarify, we'll definitely come back to the part about the reissues a little later. I actually made a video about that, to talk about the reissues, the models you shouldn't get. You definitely shouldn't get the Hong Kong versions. I repeat, you shouldn't get the Hong Kong versions from 2004. Don't worry, we'll come back to it a bit more. So here we have the black sign. You see that I went all the way, but not completely. With back of the blisters. There you go. That's rough though. I just put black here. So yes, for those who are watching this video and are Spanish, yes, it's in French. There you go. So, hello to everyone watching this video who are not French. There you go. Thanks to artificial intelligence. And sorry if it gives me a robotic voice. There you go. It's not my fault. It's the software that's like that. So here we have the real boxes from 1988, 1987 with the sticker it's a reproduction. Tap, 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 there you go. Because actually the boxes look like this on the inside. Because yes, indeed, here are the models that Bandai released in 2004. The Hong Kong versions made in China from 2005, were released in 2005. Black Andromeda, packaging in front, packaging in the back. I want to clarify, it's important. For those who are wondering how to tell if you have a loose figure, well, of a knight, and you don't know how to differentiate the vintage from the reissue, you always look under the foot. Here, it's not obvious, but if you see made in Japan, then listen carefully. If you see under the foot of a vintage figure, made in Japan, 1987, you have a Japanese model. If you see made in Taiwan under the foot, you have a model, French, or exported from Japan. And if you have a reissue, it will say Hong Kong 2004, so it's easily recognizable. Anyway, the Hong Kong versions are 0.50 centimeters larger, which makes them very easy to recognize. Always look under the foot of the Black Andromeda there. We have the Black Phoenix. Because yes, the reissue models, as I explained, the Hong Kong reissue models suffer from a paint problem. The paint that chips and flakes, and the gold saints were the worst. That's why I'm telling you, for the bronze knights you saw earlier, don't buy the bronzes in this type of packaging. Only the black knights in reissue, as well as Marinasses, the warriors of Poseidon, don't have any paint issues. But anyway, the Japanese ones from Saint Seiya 288 are extremely expensive. You'll still get a bonus with the Japanese versions. While I definitely put up the illustration. So, in the Japanese versions, you get a piece of gold armor from Sagittarius to make a complete Sagittarius. And the thing is, the Japanese models are extremely expensive. And I want to point out, because I am the expert here, while we see my favorite character, the Black Dragon, I also want to clarify that some ornaments on the reissue have changed. It looks like the Japanese vintage exclusive. It was never released here in France. Also, I noticed that some collectors told me that the Japanese ones from 87 also had an issue with the plastic parts. The plastic had trouble holding up on the Black Knights from 87, so on top of that, they are expensive. And it tended to have a rubbery effect. It was softening the plastic, I don't know why. What's the magic in all this? But still, I want to clarify that, due to packaging price concerns, as you may have seen, the Black Saints, the Black Knights, have packaging that isn't yet like Shingo Araki's, still with that comic book effect like the Black Knights. I suggest you go for those models. If you want to get the Black Knights on vintage. And we finish with the Black Sign, Black Cygnus, and of course, as I mentioned, here are my personal cressons, my sleeves, where I can actually put the box inside to create a nostalgic effect. 1987, 1988. And yes, you forgot about those. The Knight of Steel. 3 Knights of Steel. Of course, Japanese. Exclusive. Japanese. These are indeed Bandai. Everything I'm showing you, of course, is Bandai. Forget the 2004 reissues forever. The paint has oxidized significantly and drastically. You can absolutely see the monstrous price. Here, these are indeed the Japanese versions. Some boxes have struggled. They have withstood the test of time. You can see that we could make some really beautiful totems with the point system, but we'll talk about it later. We'll talk about it much later. Don't worry about this video. The Knights of Steel, which are an anime exclusive. No appearance in the manga. This box has really suffered. I think it must have traveled thousands of kilometers to land at my place. The box. And finally, the Spadens. As I was explaining Japanese, there you can see these are indeed vintage Japanese ones. No foldable shutters, so we can't see what's inside. The Knights of Steel, which are not essential to the collection. But of course, when you're a collector, you have to have them. So, Knights of Steel. From the Saint Seiya series, never released in France, a Japanese exclusive. And today, I'd rather not mention the price of these figures, especially the Black Knights you saw earlier, because it's outrageous. This time we're really going for the Gold Knights. You were waiting for them. Here we go. So I assure you, there are a lot of emotions going on in my head. A lot. The Gold Knights. So there's one in particular. I can't stop looking at it because there you go. It has something symbolic for me. Here are the Gold Knights. Gold, Saint, from Saint Seiya, the Knights of the Zodiac, in vintage 1980 version. 1987, made in Taiwan, the French language versions. And there, as you can see, we can see that these are indeed French models, so that's why. As I often mention, I always say, look under the foot of the lion. They were also released in Japan. But of course you know me. The charm of opening the famous flip panel, which gives a hint, or rather a glimpse of the figure. All the charm, all the magical side of these vintage toys. There you go. That's why I can't go for the Japanese versions. It's my childhood speaking. The lion. The Knight of the Virgin Chaka. We're going to show the inside of the busts. Don't worry. The Knight of Aries. Look at these boxes. It's amazing, it's just insane. The Spaniards also had their own box. Hello again, the Spaniards. Mexicans, Argentinians, they had their box. And we were the first. And you'll see that the Spanish models had a few small differences compared to other versions. We'll talk about it later. So obviously don't go for the versions. Hong Kong, 2004. As shown in the photo figurines, Sekai. So these are the right models. What do you need to get? Or the Japanese ones, the yellow boxes. The Horus Knight. Here it is. Look at these boxes, this color, the aggressive look of the figurine. It's amazing. And I don't have a blister for this one. I don't have any styrofoam, sorry, I'll find it one day. Here. And here it is. So now I'm going to show it off prominently. With good lighting, here is very first collectible figurine. This is what got me started in the world of collecting. The Gemini Knight, a vintage piece, 1987 French box. It was at my memorable Christmas in 1987 to be exact, and unforgettable. Given to me by my brother. When he was still nice, there's a lot of nostalgia in this figurine, because the character of Angelo Rain was born from this figurine. At that moment, when I saw this box, this ornament, this mysterious character, nobody knew who he was. Until he appeared on TV, we didn't have any information about this character's identity. We were still at the beginning of the Sanctuary, so back then we would say, but who is this knight? When you find out who he really is, it's even more mystical. Here comes the totem, and it's my first figurine. I get chills, it's what made me a collector. It's thanks to this figurine that I kept collecting over and over. I think it could even make a nice mosaic for this video. I think this is going to be the mosaic. I even forgot to mention that the versions, there's so much information. I forget. The password is amazing that we had stickers on top. Exclusive. To us, that's why we have the white stripes. The boxes weren't in excellent condition. Even with time, it's very difficult. Since, as I explained, it's very fragile cardboard. There you go. So the Japanese ones didn't have stickers. It was a square, like what you could see with the Steel Knights. And look at me, it's a lot of nostalgia. This scene with the Bronze Knights entering the time of the donut. The first dioramas, if we can call them that. I want you to be absolutely, truly, and completely dazzled, utterly and incredibly captivated and mesmerized throughout the entire duration of this video, even if it is quite lengthy. The Knight of the Ram who repairs the armors. Great Popa Reskyoko. Set off on an adventure, Knight of the Shining Armors. There you go, the ram. The box of the bull. The Bronze Knights who arrive at the second house. They're getting crushed. They don't stand a chance against Aldebaran. But the Bronze Knight is still going to try to stand up to him. You can see that it's still very shiny. I think these are prototype versions because the vintage ones aren't as shiny in real life. The third house, known as the House of Illusions, is associated with the Gemini Knight. It was my very first toy, the Andromeda Knight, who is now attempting to trap the Gemini Knight in a clever and intricate manner. Knowing that he is actually this knight is none other than, well, the another dimension attack, another dimension that he is ready to unleash against his enemies. And finally the attack that Andromeda and the Cygnus Knight are going to face head on. And the character I get chills just thinking about it. This is here. We have the fourth house with the Death Mask Knight against the dragon. This way I don't have to show you the figurine. You know what it looks like. Because these are very rare collectible items. So I think it would be it's really silly of me to show them to you. Anyway, there are plenty of photos online. But here you go, I'll show them to you like this. It will be much simpler. The Cancer, with its attack to summon the waves of Hades. The Lion Knight, no. What was I? There, I interrupted myself. The Lion Knight, who is here, there you go, with a pup. We don't know where he comes from. The lion. Honestly, look, the catchphrases were pretty classy. For the Spaniards and other countries, due to its strength and majesty, it is feared by all. You can tell me if these are the same phrases you had on your boxes. Although I think the Spanish boxes didn't have any phrases. We'll come back to that later, by the way, about the difference with the Spanish boxes, to see that some cardboard boxes have suffered. The Lion Knight, who is trying to find out who the true master of the sanctuary is, with his attack. The head is weird. The head is really weird. Against the pop. Directly on the Virgo Knight, in the epic battle, each fierce and strategic confrontation between the lion and the Virgo with the master of the sanctuary behind, with great intensity. Imagine yourself back then, as a child, seeing this on the shelves. My generation would have gone crazy, and today there are collectors Sophie, with her charm, would know how to take risks. Some say, yes, it's not good. Count yourselves lucky, Mythklaus. Action figures collectors. If you hadn't had this kind of model, you wouldn't have the figures you have today. So be, how should I put it? Respectful. I missed the bull. So I'm missing the bull's blister, so I'll show you. The ram instead. And I'm still glad to see that the pieces are from '88 and are in excellent condition. I admit that I went broke trying to keep them. The Ares Knight. Shoulder pads. Manga version. Yes. It's important to point out that the Gold Knights were designed in a manga style. You can see that the Ares Knight doesn't have shoulder pads like that, while in Kurumada's manga, yes, I insist. The Gemini Knight is not my character from back in the day. I managed to get the few pieces that were left. I had them restored, and I was able to find loose pieces at flea markets to achieve that true vintage shine. That's it. My DNA, all my energy, my whole life is in this action figure. That's to say, it's with the spurs. Grappe. On top of that, the Gemini character. I was about to spoil it with the two faces. And the Cancer Knight. Just take a look at how clean the pieces are. The clamp, you say. Hello. It's clean, but this is not possible. And the character, ouch, sold with that to prevent it from running away. Oh my God, this nostalgia. And finally, the Lion and the Virgo. With its big bulging eyes, and just look at the condition of these toys. These aren't the same paints as the action figures. I hope I'm saying it right, that the AI will do it correctly for me. Mythklaus. The foil was glued onto the metal and plastic. It's not acrylic paint like the myth clothes, figurines, action figures. It's the foil that was glued on. That's why we have figurines that are a bit more durable. But put them in water and you'll see that over time they will turn gray. The Virgo Knight. Clean. As it should be, these figurines sleep in a sealed cabinet, protected from dust and light. I want these toys to be preserved in a pristine state, like a sarcophagus. The Virgo. All that's left is to show the 6 other Bronze Knights. Also know that when you were in Japan, you had the chance to be drawn to get the famous 13th Guardian of the Sanctuary. Not the 13th Gold Knight, but the Great Leader, the Big Boss. The chance to be drawn to get the famous 13th Guardian of the Sanctuary. Not the 13th Gold Knight, but the Big Boss, the big guy. A lottery, of course. Japanese exclusivity. When I tell you that I spent, without counting, the 6 other Gold Knights, I can see myself in the stores. As a child, I would yell at my parents to buy this figurine.
The Bull Libra Knight.
The scale. With a face, an invented face, since at the time we didn't yet know his identity. It was the old master of the Dragon Knight. In the reissue, Tisekai has been given a completely masked face to add a mysterious touch. So here, let's say we have an edition collector somewhere from '87 with the totem, which was a pain to assemble, and there you have it. The scales. An imposing box like the Knight of Gemini, the Scorpion. Look how small it is. The magic of the town hall, so I'm showing the Sagittarius Knight. Oh, the nostalgia of showing this to you again for 2025. Just look at these boxes a little bit. That's why collecting them in their boxes is their only real interest. Having the characters alone like this isn't very interesting. But having them in their boxes is obviously what makes them charming. Having the characters alone like this isn't very interesting. But having them in their boxes is obviously what makes them charming. The Capricorn, Excalibur, look, he still has that in him, which means he's still climbing. But having them in their boxes is obviously what makes them charming. The Capricorn, Excalibur, look, he still has that in him, which means he's still climbing. It's factory made. What a marvel. And his totem. My Zodiac sign, the Aquarius Knight, with that monstrously ridiculous phrase, "Watch out, I've got more than one trick up my sleeve." We could have done without that poorly translated phrase. I don't even think that's the real phrase that was on the Japanese boxes. The Aquarius with his totem and this one. The last gold knight, supposed to be the most powerful, the Knights of Pisces, and not the Knight of the Fish. It's definitely about the fishes. With his totem. How beautiful. The back, of course, the back. Also know that yes, I'm going to completely replace Wikipedia for the information. That there are also black box versions for the Gold Knights, released in 2000, long before the 2004 reissues, which are peeling. Completely black box, with the character marked in American. An image. And it's the same quality as the Japanese and the French ones. But there are no drawings. There are no yellow boxes, so it has absolutely no interest. There you go. No interest. Here it is. So here we are with the Libra Knight. Certainly the fighter for justice with 12 weapons in his armor. The 12 weapons of the Libra. Oh, magnificent. What nostalgia. The dragon that awakens. I don't know what that is. Yes, that's the ice coffin in which the Cygnus Knight, Swan Yoga, is trapped. And of course the character in armor. Incredible. Watch out. His tail is deadly. The Scorpio, look at me. Magnificently. Majestic and powerful. Maybe not as shiny in official form. I think it's an image. We'll say plasticized Japanese prototype models, since I can assure you that even when new, sealed, the parts don't shine as much. So I think there was a little band-aid tinkering in the photos though. Anyway, the point is that here, as you can see, we have the very important Scorpio and Leo with the big boss, who is, of course, undoubtedly present and influential here with us today. The fight, they say hello to you. Look at that. And naturally, of course, he will be sent to the sanctuary to kill Andromeda's master, as expected. The assassin of the sanctuary, to be exact. The Scorpio. The Sagittarius. Yes, this video is going to be very long. Very, 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 very long. With baby Athena. The arm. Somewhere. The one who started the story with the big boss. But who is he? And Bronze Knights. And look, honestly, the backgrounds were nice. Who welcomes the armor of Sagittarius? His arrow hits the target without fail. That didn't stop him from dying, though. The Knight of Capricorn, by the way, indeed killed by that character, officially or unofficially, who faces the magnificent dragon in the grand battle. Where is the character? He's there, as you know. Shiryu is truly going to take off his armor to send it into the skies above. Excalibur. And that breathtaking charisma. Breathtaking. The Knight of Aquarius? I've got more than one trick up my sleeve. The Master of Cygnus. Yes, I have to say Cygnus, because in artificial intelligence they will tell me something else. So Cygnus, yoga. His powerful and devastating attack, Aurora, known as the Ice Coffin, and the absolutely incredible Aquarius. We finish with the Knight of Pisces, also known as the mysterious and enigmatic last knight in the Zodiac, said to be the most powerful. Ah, that's beautiful. I love this image, the bloody roses, and the knight as he is. And now the blisters. Some of them have suffered more than others. So there we have the balance. He's going to be there as planned, and the current condition report. Status. You're really a good guy. He doesn't want to fall, it's okay. With the famous totem, it's very difficult to assemble the character with the part that goes on the feet. Some parts are a bit oxidized. But hey, it's there. On the other hand, this box has really suffered. There it is back in the day. I think the owner of the box must have had a lot of fun. We can see that the tail of the scorpion it's completely fused with the polystyrene. I straightened it up nicely. And the condition is really cool. He destroyed his box, but his figurine is in good condition. Go figure why. And finally, here we have a box that is brand new. Come on, it looks like it just came out of the factory. The Sagittarius. So this is polystyrene, whereas the reissues are made of plastic. So this is definitely polystyrene on the 80s versions. Japanese, French and Spanish, with a weird head, all black hair, very short. Here's the Sagittarius. So let me introduce you to the Capricorn. This is Shura of Capricorn, who is often considered an underrated knight in the realm of warriors. Despite not always being in the spotlight, he possesses remarkable qualities. Hey, take a closer look at his headpiece. It's in pretty decent condition, which is quite impressive considering the battles he has faced. His armor tells a story of resilience and strength, reflecting his journey and the challenges he has overcome. On the other hand, the back, I don't think this is mine, but I believe the original owner must have had a lot of fun with it. It's very oxidized, so I think he must have thrown it right into the water to see if he could replicate the attack. The character is in good condition, but the armor is completely oxidized. I'll try to find one secondhand someday. I can't fix them up like I said. It's just some foil glued onto the armor, not chrome. So it makes me sad to see it like this, so we're going to do something about it. Here, on the other hand, it's the complete opposite. We have a collector who sold me a fish, but look at this. It looks like it just came out of the factory. It's not possible. It's brand new. Brand new. I looked under the foot, and it's definitely a Japanese one from '87. Look at the gold plating that's still intact. It's just phenomenal. And Aphrodite with her green hair. Look at the gold plating that's still intact. It's just phenomenal. And Aphrodite with her green hair. Go ahead, ask me why. And its pieces. We're dealing with a collector who has kept it in perfect condition. Now, get ready for a one-of-a-kind collectible. So here are two timeless collectible pieces. We're not going to start with this one. we're going to start with that one. The premium Sagittarius, for those who didn't have the chance to get the Black Knights to complete the armor. Back in the day, Bandai released the premium Sagittarius. Premium version of figurine, I'm tapping it, but honestly, I shouldn't even be doing that because frankly it's quite a rare collectible. There's also a bootleg model from Taiwan. I really hope with all my heart that this isn't a bootleg I have, because if I paid for it a fortune, then the Sagittarius fake premium version, it was sold with the option to assemble it like this. The armor is completely made of plastic. Curiosity, there's the Bandai logo. I think it's real. Now on the other hand, this one is a reissue and it doesn't chip. It's Supreme Pontiff. The big pop, there you go, the head of the sanctuary. And there's a Japanese version from 1987, this time with the writing in Japanese. This is the vintage version that costs an arm and a leg. Here, I have the Chinese model. This isn't the 86, no, that's completely wrong. There's nothing behind. The special thing about this figure, to put it simply, is if you have this figure and you have the feet of the character, don't move. I opened it for you, the pop. So this is the reissue, because it was never released here. So it's a Jap exclusive, Japanese. If you have this version with the colored feet, gold, I said gold, yes, a bit orangey gold. You have the Hong Kong version from 2004. Don't worry, it doesn't chip. The paint remains intact. If, on the other hand, you have a pop with black feet. You have the original 1987 version, so you have the rarest piece. At the same time, when you see the price of the original Japanese version, I think you'd have to be a bit crazy to collect that figure back then. Finally, there are flaws everywhere. So you can see that the blister isn't made of polystyrene, it's made of regular plastic. And obviously the reissues have, as I explained, an extra 0.5 cm compared to the Vintel. So it would be much smaller. And especially the feet would be black. So there you go, you have all the necessary information about this knight. Let's continue now. I told you this video was going to be long, so grab some popcorn, there's still a lot to show. So here we go, straight into version 2. So we're in the Asgard chapter with the bronzes, this time in V2 armor. I find the packaging less pretty. There's too much yellow and not enough embellishments. It fills out nicely, but it's not exactly ecstasy. You can see that I have the Pegasus. The dragon, the box has yellowed a bit. The French boxes, you'll see that I'm going to do a little comparison afterwards. The Knight of Cygnus. The bronze sign, the Knight of the Domain. I'm not really a fan of these boxes. I think they lack details, and I don't like the armors. Version 2? We do have a particularity, which is that we show them well in the order we have them. So here the head chief is him. And forgot to show Marine. Here we go, Marine of the Eagle. These models were released here in Europe. In Spain as well. Marine is in a completely different packaging in Japanese. I definitely prefer the Japanese box in this case, even if the famous one isn't there. The famous opening, but okay. Let's go. Now it's time to show the back. That's why I'm not really a fan of these versions, so we have the boxes that were released, which say 1987, but I think that's fine. 1988. With the character, the hero, the Pegasus who holds the Knight of the Twins, which is completely false, since he should be doing this attack when, well, he has the armor version 1, and the twin doesn't have his helmet. The famous Pegasus meteor attack, here it is, there you go. You must defeat the demons and protect the goddess. The character in good condition that doesn't oxidize. A lot of oxidation problems on this character, as you can clearly see. There you go. The dragon, the foldable flap, the tab has suffered a little bit in the design, functionality, performance, reliability, durability, and efficiency over the years. Of course. Reissue 2004, I repeat, chipping. Here we have the dragon, holding this time the Capricorn. Total vention. Here comes the swan. Cygnus, the Andromeda Knight, the kindest but also the bravest of fighters with his nebula chain. This video is going to be long. It's certainly going to be very long, but oh well. A character that many love, the Phoenix Knight Iki. A phoenix as an invulnerable fighter. Not that much, really. With his phoenix hind. And finally, Marine, the eagle. New eagle cross. With his purple armor. And there, the Pegasus version Armor 1. I think it would have been wiser for Bandai to release it with the packaging when we see it in large from the Japanese version. I'm not a fan, actually. We're showing the inside. Alright, let's show the inside. Here we go. Note for later, Angelo finds a blister pack of the dragon because what's inside is really not pretty. It's really not very nice. We can't hear it. The Pegasus, which is in pretty good condition. I should mention that this figurine has an oxidation issue. Over time, the metallic parts. Here, I admit that I keep it well sealed, so that the character doesn't turn gray, blurry. We can see that the faces have been reworked. The hairstyles are much more impressive. Just to remind you, to be able to put on their headbands. 13 centimeter figurines, they haven't changed the dragon. I'm not showing it, it's absolutely dreadful. The Cygnus armor is in pretty good condition. Yes, that's right, even good except for the wings, which, although I'm not sure, the lighting gives it an effect like that. The knee pads, the pieces, and the character with his blonde, yellow hair and their big head. It's nice to have vintage blisters, but it's also good to have the reissues to replace some boxes that have broken. Here, we're going to see that there's a small mistake. And yes, I'm missing a totem of the Ongrome, so I had to put this one on for now. But it's good. The Japanese version, well, the vintage French version. And here we can see that it's not polystyrene, but the plastic from the reissues. Since the reissue boxes are the same size as the Japanese boxes, that's pretty cool. Yeah. It took a beating. Hey. Andromeda. The Phoenix. Don't worry, it's definitely an original box. Some blisters have suffered over time. I admit that I'm not going to shell out $400 to $500 for figurines just to display them in their boxes. As long as the blister does its job, I have no problem with that. So the Phoenix and the character of Marine with an armor that should be blue, but here, in this case, it's purple. Don't ask me why. Marine of the Eagle and her hair brown when it should be red. A character. One of the socks has fallen. I'll put it in or not. And there you go. Now, I often show you French boxes, but I'm going to compare a Japanese box and a Spanish box. You'll see the differences. It's quite significant because I still have some of those boxes right here. I am truly and deeply sorry to inform you that, unfortunately, the color has somewhat deteriorated over time and we are looking into it. But here's what a Japanese box looks like. Here we can actually see the dragon new dragon. And there we can see that indeed phrases, namely, it's nonsense, it's a strength, do not exist in the Japanese versions. So this one is an invention, a pure and simple invention. So if we follow this logic while I show the back again, which is exactly the same, the boxes that are supposed to be the most respectful, the Spanish boxes. And I'm going to show you just that. Because yes, and yes, my friends, I presented this one to you. The French version, Bandai character. The name in French, even if the artificial intelligence is going to translate it into Spanish for me. So these are the Knights of the Zodiac. I know you're still going to translate it into Spanish or any other languages. Here we have the character with the armor. But my Spanish friends, they got completely different boxes. There you go. Absence of writing. And especially the absence of this phrase. The colors of the products may differ from those shown on the box. And here, we don't have it. And it is indeed a Bandai. So, it's not present here. It's not present there, but it's exactly the same figurine. There is no different model. Present, sign. And here is the Spanish version, which is exactly the same. Where is it? It fell. It's right here. Don't worry, it's fine. So, yes, my Spanish friends have nicer boxes. So, there you go. And on top of that, they obviously have the famous flip cover. So, French box. Text. Spanish box, no text. Bravo! The Spaniards, this time we're heading towards the Divine Warriors, God, Warriors, Asgard. And there, you'll see that there are a few small models that are mixed in. Here, I'm showing them to you well because these are my favorite knights for this one. And there you go, we have 3 different countries. There you go. It's quite a... but you'll see that it's not that complicated. Hoping that these figures don't fall, because I've placed them on a shelf. The Divine Warriors of Asgard were released in France and Spain in 4 models, namely Epsilon, Hagen of Merak Beta, Sid from Mizar, Zeta, and Alpha, Siegfried. The other knights are exclusives, as well as Odin's armor, which I will present later. Japanese exclusive. Don't ask me why they didn't release them. It's really a shame, because honestly it could have really given us some exclusives and completed our collections. So in France we got these 2, this one and this one, the same for Spain, while the Japanese got the entire set of Divine Warriors. So, are we going to present them to you? This one is indeed a Japanese one. Japanese exclusive. The camera. There you go. I'm asking you to pay close attention. Take a good look at the Japanese boxes. There, you can see that there's some text. Like the French versions, there you go. And that the character has a blue aura around the edge. I'm asking you to really take a good look at this. To tell you that the Spaniards, they are really very, very strong. Mexicans or Argentinians, I think more Europeans from Spain. Here, we have Epsilon, which was also released in Japan. In Spain there, we can see that it's indeed Epsilon with its phrase, "In the midnight sun forest, the polar wolf wanders in search of prey." With the totem, my favorite characters, of course, are the Divine Warriors. This beautiful box, new, 1987, new, 1987. Always I think it could have been more. And there we can see that there's a blue aura around the character. So, Japanese, French, with a blue edge on their model. Now I'm asking you to look at the Spanish models. There you go. By the way, we'll do the comparison later since I have a duplicate. There we can see that Beta, Hagen of Merak in the Spanish box, the Knights of the Zodiac, but it will still translate it into the languages that the artificial intelligence decides. With the totem, the Bandai logo is present, but something is missing. Colors may vary from the box. No blue edge on Spanish box contours. A foldable flap is present. There's always the little text that says the colors of the product may differ from those shown on the box. But here, we don't have that phrase, and I want to clarify that this is indeed unofficial. And especially, look, there's no blue shaded edge on the contours of the Spanish boxes. And obviously, there's the foldable flap that I will present. So, once again I say, the Spanish boxes, by the way, are the most beautiful to me. On the edges of the Spanish boxes, and of course there's the foldable flap that I will present. So once again I say, the Spanish boxes, by the way, are the most beautiful to me. I'm saying it. So, a lot of luck for the Spanish models. That's why I would really like to get the models that I'm missing. But here, we have the mine. So, which is obviously a Japanese exclusive and has never been released here. The same goes for Alberic Delta, which is a Japanese exclusive, with this manifest, as well as in particular, specifically. Sadistic character, once again, if you ask me questions, I absolutely don't understand why they didn't make the other warriors. Because honestly, this one in French and Spanish stores, everyone would have rushed to buy the character. They might not have had the rights, or I don't know what. Anyway, the thing is, he has an amethyst colored armor. And I honestly think that, for this one, the Asgard boxes are much prettier than the Bronze V2 boxes. Anyway, he has purple amethyst colored armor. And I honestly think that for this one, the Asgard boxes are much prettier than the Bronze V2 boxes. There we have Cid de Mizar, the man with the white fang and sharp claws. Zeta, French box, that's it. The shadow and blue side with his incredible totem. While his brother, who is also a Japanese exclusive and costs an absolute fortune, I try not to touch him too much because he cost me a fortune. And you can see that it's definitely a Japanese one. The sticker that certifies it, there you go. That's what shows it's a real one. The sticker. And the sticker, so it's a Japanese exclusive. What a shame. We got the version in Europe. Green armor, almost black. And there, in Japan, they will have had this model. We won't have had it. My favorite Siegfried my favorite character of all the Zodiac Knights, namely Siegfried, the divine warrior of Alpha, God warrior. And this one, well, there you go. Favorite character of all, my series. So, can the Spaniards translate the correct translation for me? Siegfried, the legendary hero of Scandinavian mythology. So for now, would it translate correctly? Even if you might not have the same phrases as on our boxes. So what we're going to do is show the back. Yes, it's a pretty long video, but I really insist that it needs to be precise. Here's the back of the boxes. And there we can see that on the other hand, it's the same designs on the back. I find that, once again, it's a shame. We can admire the beautiful statue of Odin. But there you go, so we'll have the same boxes. And it's important to point that out, because obviously they are not available in the French versions. We had the exclusive coupon that when we cut it out, we sent it in. We were entered into a draw and could get Odin's armor. So we had to sacrifice boxes, cut this out, and send it to Japan to get Odin's armor. Pegasus in Odin's armor. So as a result, we have Gamma. Epsilon, in a pretty strange color, doesn't have red eyes. We can see that on the French boxes there are no coupon points, since, obviously, the character of Odin is a Japanese exclusive. The Spanish version, there, strangely, there's the aura. So there is an aura on the edges. She is slightly white, and her hair is softly red. I don't know why they should be blonde, but we can see that it's exactly the same boxes. The States, Bud, The white states, the state with the dot, always the same for this one. So you had to cut, as I explained, the points to get the Oda and the Alberic delta. And I forgot to show the other two. The video is going to last an hour. It's crazy. I hope I'll have time to show you everything. Sorry if it's long, but I want it to be... Exactly. You watch it several times. So here, we have the Alpha. The legendary hero, you've seen him before. And the Black Zeppa, Cid of Mizar. The same boxes. No coupon since we won't have the Odin. But wait, don't move. And I also take this opportunity to invite you to rewatch my video on how to differentiate the real models from the fake ones, the Robo Warrior Close, a video I made earlier, which has been done in all languages, so you'll see that there are also bootlegs. Here, we have the Alpha. French box, as I was saying as I was explaining, blue colored outline with its phrase. The Spanish version lacks the blue aura. What about the inside of the character? Well, my faith, it looks almost the same. Same here. Tap, 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 tap. We're showing it a bit better. Here's maybe this piece that is different. I don't know why, but the Spanish versions are the most beautiful. First, I'll show you the black states since the shelf won't be big enough. The blister, French version with its face. Of course, I can't show the Japanese versions because they don't have the famous foldable flap, so I invite you to check out videos online. There you go, there's no famous foldable flap, so then the Beta Hagen. I only have a Spanish version, hoping to find a French version one day. Anyway, it's the same figure, and here we have the Masters of the Universe. We have He-Man, a beautiful color. Tiara, really blue, honestly. Very, very beautiful figure. I love the embellishments. Here, I wanted to introduce you, Alpha. Alpha, how beautiful he is. The Divine Healer of Alpha, with its black pieces, metallic, slightly gray, and its head. There you go. What a wonderful figure. The Spanish version is the same. I wanted to show, and finally Epsilon. It's a shame that Banda didn't release a little skirt to give it an even more authentic look. With the wolf totem, the polystyrene, and the character with his blue hair and those 80s faces, just as charismatic. I don't know how long we've been in this video, but it's very long. But at least this will be the one and only video I'll present to you about vintage items. But we forgot to introduce the big boss. Why shouldn't you buy Hong Kong reissues? 2004? This Knight was released in 2004 as a reissue. The vintage from back in the day came out with a completely white box featuring the totem. An image. And so the original Japanese version is made entirely of plastic. The Chinese, the Hong Kong models decided to release a reissue of this Knight, and like all the Knights, Das Guard, Gold Knight, Bronze Knight, V1, V2. Aside from the Black Knights, the paint jobs were of very poor quality. And watch out, here we go. Tragic moment. Here are the 2004 reissue. The Disaster. With their figurine. Just take a look at this mess. All the figurines with this kind of Hong Kong box. The paint chipping is really scandalous because it was very expensive. One day I need to find a Japanese version, but it costs way too much. Is it interesting nowadays to buy a white box with armor with a character made entirely of plastic? I don't know. Anyway, here it is. The Disaster. Look at that. There's paint everywhere. The disaster of the Hong Kong figurines is dramatic. So there you go. Don't buy the Hong Kong 2004 ones. Especially not this crap. We're almost at the end of this video. Now let's move to the Sea Generals, the Marinesses from Saint Seiya, the Knights of the Zodiac. And just like for the Divine Warriors in France and Spain, we're going to have two models. The Seahorse, Scylla, Siren, and so on. No, there were 5 of them. Dragon of the Seas and Poseidon. I'm not showing them right now because I don't have enough space. So, we got 4 marinas, plus the Emperor of the Seas, Poseidon, thankfully. We didn't get any. If we think that it might be strange, 3 models, namely this one. Why is it a box like this? I insist you'll see it clearly. Trichot. Kraken. I don't know if Laya's going to translate it for me correctly, but Casa de Lumades. And finally, the Little Mermaid. French box for the one I wanted, of course. Once again for the foldable panel. This one has been released. Seahorse. You'll tell me, the Spaniards, if you got your own boxes. I don't remember it. It seems to me, well, I think Seahorse, a very, very beautiful vintage box. There you go. I hope I still have this video in mind because it's long. As it passes the waves on the chains, the vintage, another marina, and above, there, 6 sacred animals inhabit this body of prodigious beauty. There you go. French box. And here, we no longer have the blue auras that are on the edges of the boxes. Whether it's for Japanese women or for French women. So why am I showing you a reissue? Because these are reissues Hong Kongers. So I'm telling you not to take them. The marinas. So the Warriors of Poseidon, as well as the Black Knights, who are right behind, that you must have seen here, are the only figurines. The Spectres of Hades, that I will show again later, which have no paint issues. So, if you want to acquire reissues because you find that the vintage ones are too expensive, it's Black Knights, the Marinas, and the Spectres in purple armor. Everything else, the V2s, the V1s, the Gold Knights, the Asgards, don't buy this junk. It's going to chip with the paint. So I got Creeshaw in a Hong Kong box. One day I'll try to find it in Japanese. It's not my priority, honestly. I admit that the figurine does its job very well. So, here you go. Here we have Lumidus, also a Japanese exclusive. Terrible mistake on the part of Bandai Europe, who didn't want to release it. I don't know why. There you go. I don't understand. Honestly, I can't show you this character because obviously it doesn't have the foldable panel. But I find it so stupid that they didn't release them. Here we have Kraken, Cygnus's friend, and Sorrento, the siren, with her enchanting melody. She captivates the souls of sailors. Here's the continuation. I don't know how long we are into the video, but it's outrageous. So here's another Japanese exclusive, Tethys, the siren, which has never been released here. Why? I don't know. What a shame. A beautiful image. All the charm of Japanese boxes. Here we have Sea Dragon, the brother of Saga from Gemini. Golden triangle that takes you to a new dimension. Sea Dragon, Sea Dragon. There you go. And I, as always. I never understood why they gave him grey hair and red eyes, like his brother in the possessed version, when he should have blue hair. It is worth noting that one important aspect is the fact that in the Hong Kong reissue version, which doesn't chip, they specifically gave him blue hair. As a matter of fact. There you go, to fix this bug. Same goes for the Japanese version from '86. He still has his grey hair, so I don't understand why. He's here, he's charismatic, he's handsome, he's present, And finally, we finish beautifully with the god of the seas himself, rising from the azure oceans. Here is Poseidon and his dark designs. So, designs, I don't know if that will translate correctly. There you go. With the totems, magnificent. Incredible. Astonishing. There are Japanese models. I can't open the boxes, so we're going to show the French versions. Oh wow, on the other hand, this one doesn't have a blister on the back, or rather, no blister on the front, so it's going to break its neck. So I'm going to try to show it to you without it falling over. So, here, a very beautiful color for the seahorse. This armor is really flawless. What did he do? I am polystyrene owner of this collectible piece. I think these colors are beautiful, but these figurines aren't exactly young. I have doubts. I think it's more of a reissue. Yes. I think this one is more of a reissue. I think there's a bit of a sneaky side to say that it was the real deal. Here we go, putting the tent back to avoid breaking the figure. And here we have a Hong Kong version. There you go. Just to let you know, I don't have any paint issues here. So, I was able to find some loose boxes, and I put them back with. So, on top of that, they have the same dimensions as the boxes from '87. So, I'm not ashamed to say it. This is a reissue from 2004. The paint is of very good quality. It doesn't chip, even if it's a box from '87. So here is Io of Seiya, with its pretty totem and its character. Yeah. And there we go. Let's get started. Here, we're definitely talking about 88's Tethys. No, not Tethys. Sorrento, excuse me, with its big wings. I'm going to need to grab a drink, because after talking so much, I'm thirsty. With the armor pieces of the Siren, the pillar of the South Atlantic. Sorrento with its silly look, always looking down. Made in Japan, made in Taiwan, 87 to know. What version do you have? Here, we have the Sea Dragon. Cannon. Wow. The pieces are intact. I confirm that this is not a reissue. They aren't as shiny. And the character with his grey hair and white eyes. Monumental error. Monumental error. His red clothes, second monumental error. And his trials and the polystyrene. And we finally finish with the god of the oceans, Poseidon, with his totem. When the sea dragon discovers it for the first time in the underwater sanctuary, the pieces are very well preserved. And the character, Julian, solo, a magnificent collector's piece. There you go. I even forgot to show the back of the boxes. So, Sorrento, who faces the bull. But in the manga it should be Zeta. So they respected the manga. Yes, I invite you to read the manga, because in the manga it's Sorrento who kidnaps Athena. And it's Aldebaran who sacrifices himself. He's not really dead, but anyway. There you go, got it. Melody of Death, often referred to as the legendary and mysterious sea dragon, a creature of the deep sea. Obsessed with his brother, Saga of the Twins. The totem. Tap 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 the character? Charismatic, no doubt about it. Incredible. The Emperor of the Seas. I'll take this opportunity to show you the others. Quick, 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 quick. The video is too long. There you go. Incredible. Majestic. I'm spending too much time in this video. Let's continue. And up there, with those 6 monsters. Magnificent, this image. I really like it. Andromeda protecting himself with his rolling defense. The attack was not only unexpected, but also involved 6 gigantic and terrifying monsters that wreaked havoc across the city, leaving everyone in awe and fear. Here's what the back of the 2004 reissues looks like. Tethys the mermaid in the manga. a different ending. For the character, much sadder. Definitely read the manga, and you'll see for yourself, indeed of Danish origin, Kraken, the friend of Cygnus, truly. I always confuse the pillar on which he faces him. Magnificent. Mythological animal. And here, for our Portuguese friends, I did say Portuguese, not Brazilian. We have a knight who proudly represents your country, Casa, usurper, imposter, liar, but still charismatic. I really like this character. He has a skeptical side. This time we're heading back to 2004. But there are still a few little characters that I forgot to introduce to you, who are the rarest figurines of all. But you'll see. So I'm taking this opportunity to show you the 3 bronze knights that were released in gold armor, namely Saint Seiya. These are the European version packaging. Here it is, rectangular, while they were released in Japan in a square box version. A bit like the Meat Cloaks figurines. By the way, don't worry, I'll show you more. Here, we have Sagittarius. And as you know, I'm a big fan of vintage boxes. From back in the day, I couldn't help but make some protective sleeves. Here are my characters. There you go, it's the same protective box. I had fun making them back then. Incredible, magnificent. Here, the dragon. There you go. And this one doesn't chip. The other gold knights, the 12 chip, but this one doesn't. There you go. Anyway, I hope so. These are the nice French boxes. These knights were released in reissue boxes. In France, Italy, Spain, and I believe in Brazil. And in Japan, they are square. Not that different. For this, I definitely prefer the European version boxes. So here I find the Japanese boxes ugly. So here, we have the sign, Cygnus Yoga. If I break the sheath, that would be a shame. There you go, and there. Speaking of the sheath, we can see that. Tap, tap, my little sheath that I made for the Cygnus Knight. There you go. Vintage version. So, look for it on the internet. You won't find that I made them with the vintage Bandai logo. Same for the dragon. I think it's nice. No, it's not a mosaic. So here are the European boxes and my outer boxes to give a vintage effect. Let's move towards the future. My friends, since Bandai in 2004, 2005, or even I think 2006, decided to release Knights in a vintage character version, which hadn't come out back then, to pay tribute to Bandai fans, yellow boxes, and we got a few exclusives. And here, in this case, you can see the Japanese boxes that I find my disgusting faith. There's one side, mid-close packaging box, but honestly, I'm not a fan at all, so we did get Mew. From the Butterfly in Vintage, a serpentine moon from China. Don't make me say what I see on the screen. It's unpronounceable. And the artificial intelligence won't be able to pronounce it correctly. Then we have, so this one is special, because if one day Bandai releases it in Myth Close, or maybe an alternative range, it will mean that officially, apart from the last Knights that I will present at the very end, the vintage ones will have been readapted into current figurines. This one is the one and only official model that comes out for the Cyclops from the Hades chapter. Maybe one day we'll have a figurine in Mythcloth figurine, action figures. Here we have the famous and well-known Lizard Knight, known as the Misty, Japanese packaging, and the Unicorn Knight. They could have made the other four, Wolf, the Bear, but no, not at all. So they just did the Jabut. And I also want to tell you that I made it because it's my favorite character. A special packaging because I have the version, well, the French version of Argol, and I made it in vintage box version. Take a good look, because yes, look at this hideous box, the reissue that we got. There you go. With the character on the back, I forgot to show the back of the other characters. Wait, the back. Well, if I break the sheath, that's not good. We had the butterfly. I'm getting to the serpent. I'm going to put my oven next to it so I don't damage it. You can see that some boxes have been through a lot. There you go. The giant Cyclops, very nice box. Very, very nice box. He looks a lot like the Bull Knight. Misty from the Lizard, packaging, and finally the Knight of the Unicorn. You can see that the boxes are really very pretty. The armor is chrome-plated. It really gives an aesthetic touch. I really like this one. There you go, Misty. The same goes for the Cyclops and his totem, magnificent. With a serpent-like look. And finally the butterfly, which for me I think is one of the most beautiful vintage figurines. I know that a Chilean range had made Custom Zero back in the day, so honestly very little information on that. So here we're back to the European box, so I'll repeat it once again. Japanese box, European box for exclusive reissues. You can see that it's really disgusting. While if we take my sheath, or well, we have this with the creator who made it back in the box days chap. And take a look at this version I made of a sheath for Hargol. I'm going to put it back in because it's so much more charismatic. The greatest hero of mythology is going to deliver justice. It's nice after all. There you go. I even did the sides. I'm going to show you the two flamingos, the sides. What is this then? But, of course, it's my sheaths for my boxes. Knights. So am I saying this right? Surplus. Hades' Spectre, Chapter Hades, released in 2002. About the Gold Knights, who are coming back in a purple armor version. And here, you can see that I'm showing you my sheaths. I could show you, we'll show the difference later with the original boxes. So they released, and these figurines, they're not even reissues. They have been readapted in a purple armored version. The paint job is decent, it's not going to break or deteriorate. There. Really recommend you get them for the avid collectors. Yes, dude. There you go. With my sheaths, do you want to see what it looks like without the sheaths? Watch out, magic. And now without the sheaths, there you go. Here's what the 2004 versions of the Gold Knights look like in their comeback, in their chapter. No retractable wings, so like the Knight of Ares, who comes straight from his return, the former Grand Pop, with his totem. Incredible. I don't know how long the video is going to last, but I think we're going to set a record, but that's fine. Come on. When you love, you don't count the night. The Geminis. There you go, they've reworked the hairstyles. I think it's much prettier. There you go. You should have done the same thing in terms of quality for the vintage ones, but they didn't. There you go. Breaks, no big deal. The fish, there you go. Our friend Poissonnet. The Concert Knight, Death Mask, this mask. There you go. The Capricorn, I think you've never seen so much vintage in your life in a single video. The Capricorn. And finally my sign, the Universe. There you go. Yes, Bandai, in its great kindness, has also decided to release a Hades Spectre. Or rather a judge, Radamantis, in its original box. A very beautiful character, impressive. that stands upright. And of course, to wrap things up, I made a custom box. There you go. That's nice. I really liked it. I don't know who made this illustration, but I really liked it. I could also show you the battle arena, which is still considered a vintage item. The Knight's Battle Arena, a chapter from the Chronicles of a Gigantic Battle Arena, must be about this size. It's an extremely large item. I also own the Colosseum. Maybe one day I'll make a video about it because it's such a part of my collection. There you go. The Battle Queen, she's beautiful. There you go. I could show more like this. Wait, don't move. I could also show you the heavy metal clothes, which were released in 3 giant vintage pieces of 3 knights, namely the Dragon Cygnus and Pegasus. And I'm missing Pegasus. These are vintage, size XL, and today it's impossible to find in its box. It costs extremely high. I'm lucky to have the Dragon and Cygnus. They didn't make Andromeda and the Phoenix. I'm only missing Pegasus. I could even show you these Steel Knights figurines in black version that I had fun customizing since the reissues were chipping. So I have them in the black version. No, it's not what we're going to show you. We're going to show you the figurines. To finish this video, the rarest ones in the world of Saint Seiya, but not the real ones. And creations, because the real ones cost 2,000 euros. Peace. Look at all this. Damn, I'm going to have to clean this up. I made a video for you. I could show you even more collectible figurines. But we're finishing up with the rarest items of all. And I made custom creation boxes since Bandai, at the end of the 90s, decided to release the Bronze Knight's Armor V2, but in black version. And these figurines are the rarest and most collectible in the world of vintage collecting. There you go. They made 5 of them. These are creations. So obviously inside these aren't the real ones. I'm not going to shell out 2,000 euros for a single figurine. I invite you to check online for the absolutely outrageous prices. Bronze Knights V2 in black. Here we go. The return of the Black Knights, but a pure invention by Bandai. And here we have the Black Dragon. There you go. Let's open one inside. All right, let's open one inside. It's good because it's you. That way you'll see my talent as a creator. Yeah, we took a Hong Kong model that was chipping. Here are my customs of the Black Knights. With a metallic black color. Well, no, not even metallic, just black, completely black. I did this roughly, but hey, I didn't buy a 2,000 euro figurine that doesn't exist. So the Black Knights. Vidro? And it holds up, the fence is solid. Look at that a bit. These figurines are over 25 years old, actually. Look, I did a great job. Well, it's not clean. Clean, but there you go. For the collector side, I still have my Black Knights. Vidro. It's cool, taken from a reissue. That's chipping. That's why I made it in black. And yes, to get this. And we finish with the Black Andromeda. I don't have the Cygnus and the Phoenix. I gave up on making them a long time ago. I'm going to be honest, I'm not that. Another thing, so Black Andromeda. Here we can see in the illustrations that these are the real versions. You go. And these figurines are indeed unlikely today. Listen, I'm going to tidy all this up. Thank you so much for watching this long, very long video. I'm going to grab a drink to relax. Here we show my buddies, the Gold Knights. I'll see you soon for another review in the world of toys. Taking a little vacation because I've been cranking out videos. And I'll see you soon, folks. It was Angelo Saint. And finally, one day, a video from Meet Klaus Final Collection. When I get the last 3 missing figurines for my collection that MST is going to release, I have no doubt about it for a second. And greetings to everyone. Hi.
Vediamo cos'è. Evviva, un cavaliere dello Zodiaco! Con questo la nostra collezione è bellissima. Ora facciamo una bella foto. Ritagliamo i codici a barre dalla confezione, li mandiamo a Giochi Preziosi e in regalo ci arriverà l'arena dei cavalieri dello Zodiaco.
Spedisci entro il 30 giugno 2 prove d'acquisto con la foto della tua collezione a Giochi Preziosi. Le migliori riceveranno la fantastica arena in regalo. Collezionali tutti, i cavalieri dello Zodiaco ti regalano l'arena. Sono Giochi Preziosi. I nuovi cavalieri dello Zodiaco. Siria! Segui i nuovi episodi in TV. Pegasus di fuoco. Tutti con la nuova scatola che si trasforma in tempio. Andromeda la notte. Colleziona i cavalieri dello Zodiaco. Solo gli originali hanno la scatola che si trasforma in tempio. I cavalieri dello Zodiaco. Un'esclusiva Giochi Preziosi.
Trasforma la scatola nel tempio del tuo eroe.
Le avventure dei Cavalieri dello Zodiaco sono sempre più grandi. Diventa protagonista di una sfida tra giganti. Crystal, Dragone, Pegasus. Maxi personaggi trasformabili.
I Cavalieri dello Zodiaco. Le loro scintillanti armature si trasformano nel simbolo delle costellazioni.
E l'avventura dei Cavalieri dello Zodiaco continua con il grande scontro. Un gioco emozionante. Il grande scontro e i maxi personaggi trasformabili sono
Giochi Preziosi. Juguetes Bandai presenta a los Caballeros del Zodiaco. Cáncer, son los guardianes del universo. Aries, tienen armadura de metal. Sagitario, son los superhéroes. Tauro, transfórmalos en tu signo zodiacal. Colecciónalos y diviértete. Juguetes Bandai presenta a los Caballeros del Zodiaco. Virgo, son los guardianes del universo. Piscis, tienen armadura de metal. Libra, son los superhéroes. Escorpión, transfórmalos en tu signo zodiacal. Colecciónalos y diviértete. Son de Bandai.
¿Y tú? ¿De qué signo eres?
Caballeros del Zodíaco. La Tierra está en peligro. Los Caballeros del Zodíaco acuden a defenderla. Transfórmalos en su signo del Zodíaco. Une tus fuerzas a las suyas. Caballeros del Zodíaco. De Bandai. Descubre a tus héroes diseñados en exclusiva para ti. Caballeros del Zodíaco DX de Bandai.
From across the far reaches of the cosmos, the brightest stars in the universe have gathered for the ultimate competition. Knights of the Zodiac action figures. Now you can have all the excitement of the stars in your hands. Introducing Seiya, Knight of Pegasus, the bright white star.
Pegasus Meteor Punch.
Shiryu, Knight of Dragon, the powerful green star.
My Dragon Blow will defeat the Knights of Aries.
Iki, Knight of Phoenix,
Flying Phoenix move.
burns orange like the sun. You can remove the chroma shields from each 8-inch knight to form his Power Star Beast.
My solar wings will protect me.
Then go head-to-head with the golden cloth of Sagittarius.
I will use the power of the cosmos to defeat you.
The entire universe of Knights of the Zodiac action figures and gaming cards are available now. You can also visit your favorite stars at knightsofthezodiac.com. Knights of the Zodiac. It's your turn to shine. From Bandai.
Caballeros del Zodiaco, Pegaso, Cisne, Fénix, son increíbles. Andrómeda, Dragón, Esquilón, llegaron para triunfar. Poseidón, Sirene, Dragón del Mar, Caballo del Mar. Colecciónalos también. Otra exclusividad de UDE.
你哋睇見嘛？你哋感覺到嘛？石破天驚，震撼宇宙，5位全新嘅青銅聖衣戰士經已誕生。聖鬥士星矢系列 Bandai 出品，最新推出各款聖鬥士模型，各大百貨公司及玩具店有售。金光燦爛嘅宇宙即將來臨。 一幕全新嘅傳奇故事馬上展開 ，Bandai 出品《聖鬥士》系列。 而家買即刻糖特惠裝可以免費獲得聖鬥士襟章，儲齊星矢、子龍、冰河、一輝、阿信同天馬流星拳呢個聖域競技場同埋全套21款合金聖鬥士，通通送晒俾你。儲到其他組合亦可得豐富獎品。記住啦，係即刻糖特惠裝至有㗎。
今その全貌を表したセイントクロス。クロスをまとえ戦え5人のセイントたちよ。セイントクロスシリーズバンダイより。立ち上がれ少年たちよ。5人のコスモはゴールドセイントをも超える。ブロンズクロスを知らずしてセイントクロスは語れない。セイントクロスシリーズで君のクロスが収納できるクロスボックスが今抽選で毎週500名様にクロスボックスプレゼント。我ら選ばれし天空12星座のゴールドセイント究極の新シリーズ登場。黄金のコスモが近づいてくる。また新たなる伝説に向かってセイントクロスシリーズ。サンクチュアリーを制する悪の教皇アーレス。今こそ勝負だ。教皇アーレスプレゼント。伝説の流星剣を今君の手に。響け驚異のトリプルサウンド。行けコスモを燃やせ。3つの音でセイントタイプペガサス流星剣バンダイから。己の肉体を武器とし鍛えられた精神を持って今音と光のハイテクシューティングゲームレーザー流星剣。我ら北斗七星のゴッドウォーリア今完全復活。一同いかなる時でも一騎様に従います。限られた君たちへプレゼント。
せいやコスモを燃やすのよ。
また新たなる息吹とともにニューブロンズクロス誕生。セイントクロスシリーズ。見えるか感じるか。呼び合う5人のコスモが新たなる興奮を今君に。セイントクロスシリーズ。海王ポセイドンここに立てり。また何かが起こる予感がする。セイントクロスシリーズ。古の時代からこの時を待っていた海王ポセイドン今こそ立てり。セイントクロスシリーズ。